Hey everybody, my name is Eliot, and I'm going to be an instructor for you throughout this course for any solution we solve. I'll also help with various other things. In real life, outside of the videos you'll see me in, I am the lead of a software engineering team that builds payment platforms for ADP. Sounds pretty boring, but it's actually very exciting, and I get to solve all sorts of very interesting problems and work with some of the coolest people I've ever met. I am very excited for you to start this journey. Once upon a time, this was my journey. I am actually also a graduate of full stack, so I know all about where you are and what it's going to take to go through this, and I'm happy to be a part of it. So before we get started with actual code, we should talk a little bit about how we're going to code. So let's move over to my desktop. And what we see here is we can see the values and types workshop. What you're looking at here is a workshop in LearnDot, which we call this platform. On the left side, you can see some of the names of these workshops we'll be doing. So this is just an example one, values and types. At the top, we see objectives, which is just kind of a summary of the things we'll be covering throughout the workshop. Then we see the lecture video by David and Nimit. This is what you'll watch before you attempt to solve any of these practice problems. At the very bottom of the page, we can see the actual problems. I, of course, have a solution for each one that you should not watch until you've given it an honest go, but we can also click on these to open up one of the environments that we'll be coding in, which brings me to the bigger thing that I'm here to talk to you about, which is where do we write code? Well, there's actually two solutions to this that we suggest. The first we've built into the entire course, and what that is CodePen. So if I click on this link, what we'll see is that an environment opens up where I can actually write code. So I could, for example, write something like console.log hello world. And when I hit run, this will actually run. You may be saying, where can I see what just happened? Well, you can actually see it by going down here and clicking console. Once you click that, you can see anything that we log out through console. But let's go to a more interesting problem. So let's go back up and let's go a little further in the course. Let's go into, I don't know, loops. And let's click on one of the problems down here. So if I click on only odds, we can see that now it's a little different. I've got these specs and failures appearing. This is called test-driven development. It's traditionally used by engineers to describe what it is we're building before we actually build it. And then as we begin to pass these tests, we know we've built the right thing because it does the right stuff. Well, we're actually going to use these to help you understand if you've written the right code. So this one is asking us to write a function. Let's see. In the README it says, define a function that accepts a number as an argument. Only odd should return the sum of all the odd numbers between the given number and 1. So we'll actually write it above all the tests below. So we could write like only odds is a function that takes a number, and just quickly let's have a sum for let I equal 0, I is less than a num, plus I, if I %2 sum plus equals I, return sum. Okay. The actual content of the code does not matter. What I'm here to show you is how these tests will actually change as we run this code. So when I hit run now, we'll probably have something wrong. I'm actually passing every single condition. If I had gotten this a little wrong, like done something, I don't know, like that, what we'll probably see is I'll pass some and fail others. And that's perfectly acceptable. It'll also describe to us how we're failing. Expected 30 to equal 25. We know that I just went off by 5. So this is the CodePen environment, and this is perfectly acceptable for the vast majority of students. But over the course of this course, I will actually be using something called Visual Studio Code, which is this environment. Visual Studio Code is a full-fledged text editor. This is what programmers use in professional capacity, and even here at Full Stack, if you join the immersive program, every single student, it's a sweeping generalization, but let's say 90% of students will use VS Code. It's built by Microsoft. It's incredibly hip and cool. People at my work use it. People here at Full Stack use it. We've left a ton of instructions in the actual repo. So if we go back, you can see that if we go to Overview and Setup, which this may look a little bit different for you at this point, but down at the bottom, we have 2 links to download VS Code and to download the folder of files that we'll be working on. Because if we're not in CodePen, we'll need to actually interact with all this code somewhere else. So to go back here, we can say File, Open. You would select the folder that you would download through that site, and then we can open it on the left. And when we're in here, there's actually commands to run the individual things. So if I go to let's go there. So let's go to pre-work workshops, and let's go to 06, and hopefully it's all ready to run. It looks ready to run. Okay, so I believe all we have to do here is say test. And once I say test, it'll say go to this address. And I click on that, it'll open up, hopefully, or not. Let's copy it. And I can paste it here. And now we get those same tests that I was showing you in CodePen, but on our actual local machine. Whichever environment you choose is perfectly fine with me. For the remainder of this course, I'll be using Visual Studio Code, as I work in text editors all day, so I'm very used to them. But you can use either. There's no difference on the platforms about how your code is going to perform. The same code will do the same things on each platform. So whatever you feel most comfortable using, feel free to use throughout the remainder of this course. All right, let's go back to the workshop. And as you begin to finish each workshop, you just move on to the next one. And I will always be here to lend you a guiding hand. All right, well, that's about all I have to say at the beginning. I don't know how best to say this, but I'm excited to go on this journey with you, even digitally. I hope at some point in the future we run into each other and you can tell me all about this journey. Excited to see you in the future.